On today. I don't know how much they mean, but Logan Jones is at the
I was going to say, tell me who's on there.
Yeah.
So
Logan Jones. I mean, a guy that's really not played a real snap.
Sure.
I mean, is this the type of thing where you're not giving them a job, but tell them to run with it at this point?
I mean, for our whole football team right now, we get going next week. Everything's up for grabs, and the guys know that. But that is a position. Obviously, we're all interested to see what happens. Logan got a lot of really good work in the spring. Mike Myslinski got good work in December, then was injured in the spring. And then Tyler Ellsbury's done a really nice job too. So I don't want to go on a limb and say who's going to be our center right now, but those are the three candidates that certainly are most, they're the guys who are going to get reps here this coming month.
How much did the injury put Myslinski behind?
It would have helped him a lot. But I think all of us were pleased and impressed with what we saw in December. And that's one nice thing about December. Get an opportunity to work with guys that you haven't seen, and Mike was out most of the fall. So I think there's no question he's going to be in the competition of our top 8, top 9, and now it's just a matter of how much he can pick things up, how fluidly he can play, and Logan did a good job with that, being a totally new player in April. So you just never know. That's what the month of August will tell us. Is we'll see how things progress and develop.
What's the update with Justin Britt? I just saw he wasn't listed on the depth chart.
Yeah, so I'd probably go back and review. There are 2 guys I'll let you know right now that are going to be out for the season. Justin, unfortunately, is one of those. More complications with a knee injury. And then the other one's Jackson Ritter. He's not going to be cleared medically. So those 2 guys there's absolutely no way they'll play this fall. So unfortunately, we lose a veteran player in Justin.
Is that the original knee injury he suffered in high school?
Yeah, it's just been complicated, and there have been some reoccurring issues there. So you just feel bad for him. It's a tough break. Oh, thank you.
They're all tweeting and so.
Alec Quick, how's he progressed? He made an appearance on the depth chart.
He's done a good job. He shows up every day, works hard, and he just kind of has a knack of doing some good things. And we had a lot of guys out this spring, so he took advantage of those reps and that opportunity. I can say a thing about Caden Wetchin's done a really nice job too. So obviously Alec was here the entire year, and then Caden joined us back in January. But he's another guy that it's going to be interesting to see what he does in August. We're curious to see what both guys do.
How have you seen Keegan and Arlen take from freshmen to sophomores, then obviously with all the injuries during spring? Obviously Nico's the veteran guy, but you're almost relying on Arlen and Keegan to be those leaders and to kind of be those veteran guys.
Yeah, we're hoping to get those guys where they can be on the field all the time, and Arlen's done a pretty good job of holding up. He's had a couple ups and downs this summer, but hopefully we'll get all the guys back full speed in August and just see how they progress. But it's really representative of our football team. Even those guys played last year. But if everybody's not taking a step forward, including our older guys, then we're going to be in trouble. So we expect that or hope for that from everybody. I would think, the experience that they got as true freshmen, it's really going to be helpful to them. They should be able to, I think, accelerate maybe a little quicker than somebody who hasn't played at all. And then, Brody Breck, we're anxious to get him back too and just see what he can do. But, right now we're just talking about potential because we really didn't, see him at all in the spring.
Do you have some candidates in the return game?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Garland, I think, is one.
Yeah, he'd be one for sure. Yeah, Nico's one, and mentioned Caden. Watching, he might be a guy we'll look at, but I think we have some guys that are capable, so we'll see how that all goes and make some judgments as we go along.
How soon would you like to have the return game kind of figured out?
We'll probably start formulating ideas after a couple weeks, but it's still not quite the same because we don't do live coverage in. I still flash back to Quinn Early getting his shoulder knocked out, whatever year that was. We don't do live coverage in practice, but we'll put them in some stressful situations where it's crowded and that type of thing. And that's a big part of being a returner, is just having the judgment and the focus and concentration, because it all starts with ball security. If you don't field it, and fielding's critical instead of letting it roll. But if you don't field it, that's an issue. And then if you can do something after that, that's really good. But we'll have to wait and see.
Do you like how everybody's volunteer? I mean, everybody seems interested in it.
That's where special teams really begin. specialists, that's what they do. But for the other guys, if they're not excited about it, pretty good indication we're not going to put them out there because, especially that position. Terry Roberts is another guy I didn't mention, but Terry might be a guy that could fill in there too.
And Charlie did both at a high level, which is not very common. Could you see someone doing that, or do you expect it?
You never know. Yeah, you never know. And Cooper DeJean, there's another guy I didn't mention. We got some guys like you think about Cooper, Arlen. Those guys are just good all-around athletes. Cooper probably could play for us on offense. I don't think probably could, and Arlen probably could play defense somewhere. So you get guys like that are just good football players. Nothing would surprise me.
Speaking of Cooper, I saw he's listed at the cash too. What have you seen from him defensively?
He's done a good job. And I'll go back to the bowl game. The play that gave us a chance to stay alive, where they hit the big play on us in that last drive. He came from the left corner position across the field, and we've had some good players in the history of our program do things like that. So he's the youngest guy in the field, yet he made a play that, again, we had a chance maybe to get a stop and kick a field goal. But just that play stands out to me. But it's just kind of who he is. He's a football player, and so I'll be anxious to see what he does.
Have you gotten much of a look at the kickers? I know practice hasn't started yet.
No, not at this point. Saw them in the spring, and I think there's potential there, but not consistency. It's probably the best way to put it right now, and which is not uncommon for punters, kickers, etc. When they're first starting out. So I kind of referenced, you just never know what a guy's going to do the first time they're out there on the field when there's 70,000 people there. So, but I think we definitely have potential there, and we'll let those guys compete hard this camp.
When you look at quarterback, is there a defined pecking order at this point going into camp? And if there is, what's the ability for upward mobility?
Sure. Somebody's got to go with the ones, and that'll be Spencer. But right now, I consider it an open, competition. And I see the guys physically right now. You see them training. I think both guys are really doing a good job, and get good feedback from people that are out there throwing the ball around, that type of thing. That they're both doing well, and I just, I'm optimistic. I think we have two pretty good quarterbacks, and again, selfishly, I look at it. There's some teams in our conference or in college football that struggled when their number one guy went out, and we kept winning. We found a way to get back on our feet and win those last 4 games. So I think it's a healthy situation to have two guys that have led us to victory and two guys that have played well. Again, consistency is going to be the biggest part.
How much realistically of a step up do you think Spencer and Alex can make this year?
I think they both can. I think that's a great thing about experience and being in the system and just working at it continually. And you hope that's the history of our program. Typically, as our older guys get better, as I mentioned up at the podium, Jack Campbell's highly driven, in terms of improvement. Riley Moss, I'll throw another name out, who came back, and that semi-unexpected, but chose to come back. And, sometimes when a guy does that, you're wondering, okay, what's his investment level going to be? I don't know if we have anybody working harder. When I watch the summer program and watch the guys training, I don't know if we have anybody pushing harder than him right now. He's a wonderful person, just a great, positive guy. So those things make you feel good, and I think, he'll be playing at a really high level this year. So I would expect the same thing with Spencer and Alex. When they get their chance, they'll elevate.
I feel like sometimes you get a feel for what this type of team is going to be. Do you have a vibe of a past Hawkeye team that this kind of you're thinking of when you think about?
I don't know if I can compare them to other teams, but I think I said this in the spring. I think this felt like our team had a little bit more personality in April than some of the teams. Usually it's more through the summer, and but the exposures I've had with them, we've done some off the field stuff together. I can't say enough about, again, especially those top 25, 30 guys. We've got some guys that really just, they model the right things. They really have a great attitude. They work hard. So that's a pretty good starting point, and that's good for the younger guys that haven't maybe been around as much or done as much, to have them exposed to that and see things being done the right way. It could be really powerful, and we still got to do it.
What are the early reports about Steven Stilianos, the transfer from Lafayette tight end? I mean, how have you kind of seen him transition into the program?
It's been a change for him, certainly. He was a high school quarterback originally, and ended up. But I think it's been good. I think our summer program is probably a little bit more intense than maybe what he was used to, but I think he's taking advantage of it, and it looks like he's moving around and all those kinds of things. We can be out there when they throw footballs. I can say that. We can't be out there when they're doing 7-on team stuff, all that. And we really don't do a lot of that. But yeah, I think he's moving around well, and I think we have 2 really good tight ends right now. Hopefully he can supplement that group. And I was impressed with Johnny Pascuzzi back in the spring. I don't mean that laughingly, but he got work kind of like we talk about Alec, because we had a lot of guys out, and he did some really good things. Like I don't know if it's going to be this year, but I can see him helping us down the road and contributing. So all those little contributions are helpful, and Monty can jump up there and do some things at that position as well. So I think that if we're a little thin at receiver, then we can maybe supplement that with some strength at that position.
Talking about Sam Laporta, obviously when he came in, he was a receiver, and then you turned him over to tight end. How have you kind of just seen him grow from that into one of your team's leaders, and he's obviously here, and then what does he add to the program?
So it's so rare to recruit nowadays, to recruit a tight end who's a tight end. Nobody's a tight end anymore. I call them tight ends, but they're lined up 6 yards from the tackle. And I'm thinking about TJ the same way. He's more of a slot receiver, if you will. And then played safety at about 40 yards depth. I guess they want to keep him healthy, but so there's always, that's a position, I'm just joking about that, but it's a projection position, if you will, in recruiting typically. Even Luke, they had him at running back, cornerback. I mean, it's crazy. And receiver, just smart, because they, guy covered him was like that. But tight end, especially, like basketball's of interest, and he was a good basketball player, just a good athlete, and his energy level's great. And I'm not saying he's better than maybe we thought, but he was under-recruited. There's no question about that. And he's just worked so hard, and he's got such a great attitude. So he's a good player, but he adds more just through who he is. I think that's true of all 3 of these guys, and also the guys that we left at home. There could be another handful here.
Just a couple more guys.
So do you feel like that the offense really does have a lot of upward mobility this year?
Yeah, I do.
It
must be bad out there. I just watch the plays on film.
Yeah.
And when I see film and tape, I don't know how you guys look at it, but I see a lot of makeable plays. And if we can't make some of the plays that we missed last year, then we're not going to be very good. I'll tell you that right now, and that'll be part of my message during camp. I'll show them some of those plays. But I think there's a lot of makeable plays out there that, I'm not blaming him, but it's a combination of things. We were really young at receiver, and we were really young up front outside of Tyler, and Shad, who had a broken foot, and Cody, who was perpetually injured. So our experienced guys outside of Tyler, we were really thin. So I'm really optimistic. I saw the growth that we made last year, and I think if you look at our bowl game, to me that's that's something to be optimistic about, but that's if we make the plays that we leave out there, and that's what we got to quit doing. So, execution's a big part of football, but execution goes deeper than that. It's experience, it's guys, being able to handle certain things a little bit better, and that's the hill we got to climb. But yeah, I'm optimistic. I think.
How much is that going to fall in the running game? How confident are you about the running game?
I feel good about that too. I do. I mean, we're and it. I said this last year during the season, we were hanging on up front. We were, you got Cody out, you got Shooter, in and out. So again, we just, if you look at it, I think we're a really different group. And I thought that was the most improvement we made as a team. Probably was up front on both sides by November. So not that you can't get better, and we can always get better, but I think we're on the right path. And I think if we can, have balance on offense, that's going to give us a chance. But we did some good things there too, just not consistently enough.
You always need one of those quote good stories. A lot of times they're a late developing player, a senior that kind of hits it, and a lot of times it's on the offensive line. Can Jack Plum fill that?
I think so. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. You watch a guy who is, tight end. We projected him, and it's been a step by step by step. And I thought the improvement he made, and he's kind of symbolic of the whole line from September to November to December. I think he really made some good steps, and just watching him operate, he cares. He really works hard. He's very committed. He's smart. So, I think he can play really well this year, and that's my expectation. I know, more importantly, I think it's his expectation. But, I don't see a reason why he can't be a good football player for us this year.
I didn't see X on the 2 deeps. Do you think he could be an immediate contributor?
It wouldn't shock me. Yeah, for guys in their first semester, it's just it is algebra 3 or calculus 3 maybe is better description. My guess is, with all those guys, you will see a huge jump this August. Now that he knows, like he was just trying to figure out, where to go, what to do, all those kinds of things. So he's a top-notch young guy. Like he just, I know he's highly recruited. You would never know that if you watch him day to day. He's just one of our guys and is not impressed with himself. Strong work ethic. He's a really good football player and just a really, class young man. So I'm thrilled he's on our team, and there's opportunity there. We, as I said up on the podium, we lost 3 pretty good players out of our back end, and we're dealing with an injury situation or 2. So I'll know more, once we get going in August, what it looks like. But he's in the thick of things.